G'day, I'm Dad, and today Oliver's not with me. I want to talk to you about the most important thing you can teach a dyslexic child, and without doubt, that's to read. If you can teach a child to read, it opens up so many other possibilities for them. But let's be honest, for a dyslexic child, that's often going to be a challenge. Just because it's a challenge doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Through some of my volunteer work, I'm fortunate to work with parents and teachers who are supporting kids with dyslexia, and sometimes I have a parent come up to me and ask, if my child really hates reading, should I really force them to do it? I don't like the concept of forcing them. I think we've got to find ways to make it enjoyable, to make it at least less painful, build some rewards in, etc. But yeah, I think they need to learn to read. A really major suggestion I have for you is forget goals that are not relevant. So don't sit down absolutely focused or determined to get through that reader today. Perhaps a better goal would be to say we're going to sit and we're going to read and we're going to do it effectively for 10 minutes. If your dyslexic child is anything like Oliver, some days they'll read 2 or 3 pages and read them well in those 10 minutes. Other days you might get half a page or a couple of sentences. Some days just don't seem to flow as well. Some days reading seems so much difficult. In fact, some days, while I still believe it's important for a child to read every day, we just do a little bit and move on to something else. But those days shouldn't be too regular. In future videos, I'm going to share with you some strategies we use to make reading more enjoyable, to get through some of those barriers. But without doubt, the most important thing that you can teach a child that will help them read is phonetics. Help them understand how the symbols, the letters in our language, come together to make sounds. And that's often something that schools aren't as focused on as they should be. Often, as a parent, you'll need to subsidise the learning they get at school with your own learning in phonetics. And again, that's something I plan to share with you in future videos. For now, I'm going to give you one tip about reading, and that is that there's really only 2 reasons for a child to read something. One is to enjoy it, and the second is to understand it. When we're focused on getting through a set amount of reading, we probably inhibit both of those outcomes. As I mentioned earlier, what we're probably best to do is read for a certain amount of time and accept that as long as the reading is an enjoyable process and as long as we do well on the amount we get through, then it actually doesn't matter how much we get through. Perhaps you're better some days to stop and talk about what the story means. Ask the child what they're taking from what they're reading. That might mean reading one sentence and asking the child about what they're observing in the story, rather than simply racing on to the next sentence. Remember, if you can achieve both outcomes, that they enjoy the process and they understand, then that's a successful reading day, regardless of how much you get done.